Right now at 6, trying to stop a wildfire in its tracks.
I'm John Adams. The fast-moving Larch Creek fire continues to grow. We have the latest on how many people are now in the evacuation zone.
And growing pressure for President Biden to bow out of the race for re-election. Another local Democratic member of Congress weighs in. Plus,
where we have a lot of pavement, a lot of structures that just retains and absorbs the heat from the sun.
The city now getting a big boost when it comes to beating back an urban threat. And later,
even in training, sometimes you just need to switch everything off and be a coach. And then as soon as training's done, then I'm dead.
A one-on-one with Olympic gymnast Jade Carey's biggest fan and coach as she goes for the gold in Paris.
we begin at 6 with crews surging into Wasco County to stop a fast-moving wildfire. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. The Larch Creek fire has now burned more than 10,000 acres south of the Dalles and Dufur along Highway 197. It has now burned to within a few miles of the Tye Valley community.
We have team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino keeping an eye on challenging conditions. But first to John Adams live on the fire line in Wasco County with the very latest. John?
David and Christine, the main goal today for fire crews was to protect people's homes, especially those in Tye Valley that are in the direct line of the fire. The fight against the rapidly spreading Larch Creek fire continues on Thursday. Even more fire crews from around the state have arrived as 1,000 homes now sit in the evacuation zone.
We're looking at least 1,000 or more homes that are in some kind of evacuation level. So that's a lot of people, right? And with the unpredictability with the fire and the winds, and anything can happen.
The main goal for crews, protecting people's homes.
Our primary focus is the structures and making sure it's all stable around that. And any fires that do pop up, we try to extinguish or put out, but it's more preparation, making sure that the fire doesn't get to those homes.
Homes like the one Mike Davis owns, which came within feet of the fire line before crews arrived to stop it in its tracks.
What saved everything here was the amount of people that came in to help. It was unbelievable. I mean, we had more firefighters and hotspot guys, and they were all over this. They jumped on it and got the DC-10s in, and it was like amazing.
Davis's property still pink from flame retardant dropped from the skies. Other Tye Valley residents like Stephen Coleman are concerned that the return of gusting winds could allow the fire to continue to spread quickly.
If we get wind again, it could definitely get out of control again. If it'll stay like it is now, I think we're pretty good shape. But if the wind comes up like it did yesterday and starts howling, it could be out of control again easily.
Well, the good news is none of the 1,000 homes in the area of concern have been lost thus far, even though 2 outbuildings have been burned. One firefighter was treated at an area hospital on Wednesday due to dehydration, but they are doing well now. David and Christine, back to you.
No homes lost, no injuries. John, I hope it stays that way. John Adams in Wasco County. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino now. Matt, what's the wind looking like out that way? Hoping firefighters catch a break there.
Yeah, it's a little bit down from where it was yesterday. This is our camera in the Dalles, which is about 15 miles north of where the fire is burning. You see the winds are gusting again to 30 miles an hour. But it's windier in the Dalles. They're along the river, so they're seeing stronger winds there than we are down by the fire itself. But it is useful to see what the winds will do even in a windy spot like the Dalles. And they will stay elevated till about 9 o'clock, as is typical this time of the year. Then they drop way off, and in the overnight hours, they will be quite light around the fire itself, which is certainly good news there. So here's where the fire is, this area in red right here. There's a weather station right along Highway 197 at Tye Ridge. Winds of 15 miles an hour. Friend, Oregon, just to the west, winds of 12. Dufur has winds of 10 just to the north. So again, there's wind here. It's not as strong as it is in the Dalles, but still problematic for firefighters when you're trying to battle those flames like that. Just glad it's not as strong as it is farther north there, right? There are no fire weather watches or warnings where this fire is burning. There are in other parts of Oregon farther on down to the south. Breezy in the afternoons, west winds 10 to 20. That's what we're seeing right now. But the winds really become light overnight. That's the good news. We'd like to see the humidity come up as it typically does at nighttime, but it's going to stay very low because the air is so dry over there, and temperatures will stay very high. Not the record values we saw earlier in the week, but it will be very warm. Guys?
Thank you, Matt. We'll see you in a few minutes. In your headlines, Portland police are looking for a driver who hit a pedestrian in North Portland this morning and it took off. This was in the Kenton neighborhood around 4:30 at North Columbia Boulevard in Argyle. Officers say the victim was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. So far, there is no information about the suspect's vehicle.
And a man accused of setting several fires early yesterday morning, one of which destroyed a Northeast Portland business, appeared in court this afternoon. John Martin is charged with several counts of arson. He pleaded not guilty. Portland Fire and Rescue says 4 fires were set between 2 and 3:30 a.m. Wednesday. A couple of them started at a homeless camp on Northeast Sandy. The others started in a recycling bin and near a commercial building. Some people in the area say they think the fires may have been retaliatory after the city said it would remove the campsite. Martin, meantime, has a preventative detention hearing set for tomorrow.
The toll in Oregon from this week's extreme heat has now reached 14 suspected heat-related deaths. 5 of those people were Multnomah County residents. 1 was from Clackamas County. Washington County is now reporting 2 additional heat-related deaths of a 73-year-old woman and an 87-year-old man. Lynn County is reporting its first death, a 56-year-old man. 4 people have also died in southern Oregon, 2 in Jackson County, and 1 each in Coos and Klamath counties. In all of these cases, a medical examiner will determine the final cause of death.
The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is looking for the person who put a homemade explosive inside a trash bin outside a Gresham home that blew up earlier this morning. Deputies say a piece of the device hit and damaged the home when it exploded. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Detectives from the Sheriff's Office and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives are investigating. They don't believe there's any threat to the public.
And the body of a teenager presumed to have drowned in the Willamette over the weekend has now been found. 13-year-old Gregorio Maximiano Solano was playing in the water at Riverview Park in Independence when he went under. First responders searched for days and today confirmed they found his body about 20 miles away in Kaiser Rapids Park. We talked to his family before they and we learned that news. One told us that they'll remember Gregorio's upbeat spirit.
He was nice, he was playful. Sometimes he'd mess around too much, but he was joyful.
Officials say their hearts have been and are with the Solano family.
Well, look, I'm not in this for my legacy. I'm in this to complete the job I started.
You just heard from a defiant President Biden a short time ago, answering questions from the press at a solo news conference at the end of the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. It comes as a growing list of Democratic lawmakers are calling on the president to not seek their party's nomination.
And that now seems to include Washington Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez, who in 2022 flipped her district from red to blue. Let's get right to Devin Haskins in the newsroom. So, Devin, what is she saying?
Yeah, Representative Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez sent KGW a statement that highly suggests that Biden step aside from seeking re-election, but that statement does not outright use those words. Her spokesperson said this wasn't a political decision, but more of a governing decision. They said for the good of the people. Here's what she had to say. I've spent the past 2 weeks listening to my constituents express their concerns about the president's age and health. Like most people I represent in Southwest Washington, I doubt the president's judgment about his health, his fitness to do the job, and whether he is the one making important decisions about our country rather than unelected advisors. She goes on to say Americans deserve to feel their president is fit enough to do the job. The crisis of confidence in the president's leadership needs to come to an end. Finally saying the president should do what he knows is right for the country and put the national interest first. Gluesenkamp-Perez joins a growing list of Democrats calling on President Biden to withdraw from the race, although she is the first to take it a step further and suggest he also resign from office before his term ends. Yesterday, Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer released his own statement on Biden to withdraw from the race, saying it was time for him to step aside as a matter of protecting democracy. KGW News spoke with a politics professor about the historical nature of all of this.
This is all uncharted water The closest we've seen is in 1972, a vice presidential candidate was nominated and then withdrew the next day. And then another vice presidential nomination came to before the convention as the convention was going on. This is very different from that scenario. So I have no predictions whatsoever. But what this has successfully done is it has changed the Biden campaign, which was to focus on Trump and what they called the threat to democracy.
More than a dozen Democratic members of Congress have called on Biden to drop out, which he has repeatedly said he would not do, even doubling down on that notion at his press conference that ended a short time ago. Now, we've reached out to all Oregon's Democratic delegations. Senator Wyden supports Biden remaining in the race. Senator Merkley was non-committal on the issue, and Congresswoman Bonamici suggested she was still making up her mind. Representatives Hoyle and Salinas did not return our emails. Now, just a short time after that press conference ended with Biden, a congressman from Connecticut came out saying he also wanted Biden to not seek the election, so that list continues to grow. Back to you.
And we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you, Devin. A quick reminder, NBC's Lester Holt will sit down with the president on Monday in an exclusive one-on-one interview. It'll air right after nightly at 6 in the evening here on KGW, followed by special coverage from Milwaukee of the Republican National Convention. Developing this evening, thousands of patients in the Portland area are being notified they could have been exposed to HIV or hepatitis because a doctor did not follow proper procedures.
That includes 2,200 people at Providence Willamette Falls Medical Center, 2 at Providence Portland, and 221 at Legacy Mount Hood Medical Center. A Providence spokesperson says a doctor with the Oregon Anesthesiology Group may have not followed infection control practices. While Providence did not give dates of exposure, Legacy says the physician was under contract with them for 6 months, starting last December. Providence says the risk of exposure is low, but letters or MyChart messages are being sent to anyone possibly affected. Those patients are being told to get a blood test to screen for the infections.
Coming up tonight on The Story, we're following up on the incredible power of horses and how they're helping local veterans find their own path toward healing.
Good job, Bruin. And as rowdy as he is, he's been very good to me so far.
Hi, his name's Tony, and I think he likes me. Hey, that's my helmet.
Well, he thinks it's food. You certainly can't learn to ride a horse without a sense of humor, right? And these veterans, through what is called equine-assisted therapy, tell me they are learning so much about themselves. By the way, the program for vets at a nonprofit called Horses of Hope in Turner was created by the organization's executive director because of her husband, Jason Dodge, a Marine who served in the Gulf War in Somalia, and the way horses helped him overcome his own trauma.
Watching somebody you love struggle really hard hits home.
No, but there is, Monica and Jason Dodge say, a path forward.
Yeah.
And for both of them, horses have been the key. We're going to show you the transformation they have experienced firsthand and how veterans, just a few rides in, say they have noticed a huge difference. It's coming up at 6:30 on The Story, only here on KGW.
Oh, cannot wait to see that. Going to be so good. Okay, coming up here at 6, we know all too well how hot it can get around here, right? But some areas known as heat islands can get especially hot due to the lack of greenery. Next, how one local city is getting help to cool down.